Hello everybody, my name is Joshua.
And I'm Paige.
And we'd like to welcome you back to another episode of Coffee, Cats, and King. Things are a little different today.
Yes.
So this is a sort of a dual video.
Yes. It's called a collab.
Sure. Whatever you hip kids say. So those of you that watch us know that recently my wife and I here have gotten into a thing where we swap books every other month and then read a book together on the months in between. This is a month where we swap, and we decided that now that she has her channel as well, here on my channel will be the chronicles of her reading horror. And then I'll be over on her channel reading the romance. So as I mentioned in one of my other videos, the idea here is these are books that we did not like. So we're trying to see if the other person maybe feels a little differently about it. I know for me this was a 1-star book.
Okay.
And this is a book called Voice of the Night.
Okay.
By Mr. Brian Coffey.
Okay.
Which is a pen name for
Dean Koontz.
Dean Koontz.
You hate him.
Yes, I do.
Oh God.
But I figure there are so many people that really enjoy Koontz that maybe I should, I should have you read something from him, and
as an unbiased opinion,
and see, just see where you're at with it. You might be one of those strange individuals that like his writing.
See, this is like a catch-22, because what if I like it? I feel like you're gonna like look at me differently.
No, because I said I will love you no matter what. Even if you're a Koontz fan.
I guess this will be the true test of that statement.
So, you'll be reading Voice of the Night.
Okay,
and,
what's it about?
I'm going to give you the little synopsis here off of Goodreads. It says, Dean Koontz gives new meaning to blood brothers in this chilling book of friendship gone awire. No one could understand why Colin and Roy were best friends. Colin was so shy. Roy was so popular. Colin was fascinated by Roy, and Roy was fascinated by death. Then one day, Roy asked his timid friend, "You ever killed anything?" From that moment on, the two were bound together in a game too terrifying to imagine, and too irresistible to stop.
Love and opposites attract.
Yeah, so this book came out, if I'm not mistaken, it came out sometime in the 70s or very early 80s.
Oh my, okay.
I said I have read this, and it's just what it says. One boy, you can kind of tell very early on, is
disturbed in some way.
Very disturbed, and the other has to kind of come to terms with the fact that his friend is maybe not such a nice person.
Okay.
But I chose this one for you because you were very much a fan of Criminal Minds.
Yeah, I do love Criminal Minds.
And this, well, at least one of these kids could certainly end up on an episode.
Okay.
But it has that sort of feeling to
it.
So.
Okay. Actually, you might like it.
You might.
Okay.
A lot of other people do. This is one of 2 books that a lot of people who don't like Koontz still say they like. This one, along with Intensity. Of course, I still didn't like. Oh yes, okay. Yes it is. I still didn't like either of them, but this is one of 2 that people seem to enjoy regardless.
Okay.
So you'll have some backing on this one, I think.
Okay.
So.
Alright.
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
So you'll be reading your first Koontz, and you folks will be along for the ride with Miss Page here. I don't think it's particularly long. I want to say it's under 250 pages.
Oh,
so relatively quick read.
Yeah.
But
unless I'm too scared to read it.
You'll be okay.
Okay.
So we'll see how this goes, and the next clip should be her talking about it, which yeah, that looks a lot better.
Stop.
All right. Well, we're back.
Yes.
You have asked to be able to do an update, and I don't know how far you are into the book.
I am 30%.
30%. Okay. And what do you think of your first Dean Koontz?
I hate it so far, if I'm being honest.
Alright.
I don't like the way his dialogue is written, because sometimes you can't even tell who's talking because they go back and forth, but then sometimes one person will say two things, but you don't know they say two things. It's just like a whole paragraph of just lines of dialogue, but you don't know who's saying what. So the audiobook, I think, makes it better. And thankfully, this is one of those Kindle Unlimited books that the audio is also free. So I feel like if this was a movie, I would probably like it more. But reading it like that is driving me bananas. Like, whenever there's a scene where the two characters are talking to each other, I want to rip my hair out, to be honest, because the dialogue is just terrible. I'm assuming it's going to be like a coming of age kind of thing, so I don't know. So they're 14 years old, but the way that they talk to each other just does not match 14-year-olds, in my opinion. And I used to be a teacher of elementary school aged kids, and I feel like sometimes they sound like elementary school aged kids, but then other times they sound like they're trying to be like they're 21 or something. I don't know, which I understand that teenage boys are like that. Whatever. I guess you could argue that no matter what. I don't know. It's just really annoying. The whole like boys will be boys thing is just really grating on my nerves.
Yeah. No, there are plenty of good examples of kids acting like kids, but in a silly but still somewhat wholesome way.
Yeah.
You find that in a lot of King books.
Yeah.
Especially in his early stuff. At that, and encompassing what it is like to be a child when summer hits and school is out and everything in the world is in front of you and available. In my opinion,
this does not. I don't know. I just feel icky. I don't know why people talk so much crap about romance being like, taboo or risque. Some of the things that these kids are saying to each other is so inappropriate. And I'm just like, why am I reading this? Like, I'm sorry, but 14-year-old friends, guy friends that I had when I was 14, would not ask each other to say dirty things because they wanted to hear them say dirty things.
No, I think the point is that the kid is disturbed.
They're both disturbed. I don't want it to be, oh, Roy's the bad. No, Colin is also a bit, like, disturbed in the head. There's a scene where he's looking at his mom. And hold on, I highlighted it because it was just, he's saying that his mom looks like a college girl. Her bare arms were tan and slender. Her hair was long, dark, and shiny. Her face was really quite beautiful. He began to realize that 33 was not really old as he'd always thought. For the first time in his life, Colin was consciously aware of her body. Full breasts, narrow waist, round hips, long legs.
See, until you get to that part, you're like, okay, well, it's just a nice moment where he's realizing that his mom is a beautiful woman.
No.
And that's something that's...
But the tone is so icky.
But you can certainly do without the description of their body.
Yeah. And there's a scene later where he, like...
I don't even know why I'm trying to defend it. Why am I... I sound like I'm trying to defend it.
You hear that? Yeah, it's just really icky, and I'm miserable. And I hate that I have to read this book.
Hey, what is it that you people say In romance, you're not supposed to yuck someone's yum. Somebody out there digs this book. I don't know who they are. But
That's
somebody
fine.
does.
I'm just not having a good time.
Yeah.
I didn't say the book is not a good time. I said I'm hating it. I don't know. There's just so many other books that I want to be reading right now, and I'm like mad. Like every time I pick up this book, I'm just like pissed off. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I really need to have a more open mind.
No.
But it is really hard for me to get into this book.
I wanted to give you this book because it's one that a lot of people still like from Koontz. I thought it would be a good example of Koontz for you, and we can just get it out of the way.
Okay. I do understand, like, it is simple and it's easy to follow along with, so like I can understand the appeal, but again, I think that if I was just listening to the audiobook, it would be better. If it was just like a really good audio or a really good narrator, I think that would really make this enjoyable. I think if this was a movie even, like I said before, I feel like it would be better. Just as a book, I hate it. I just hate the way that he writes. So, right. I don't know.
That's your 30% update. And,
yep. I really hope it gets better. Otherwise, the 70% is going to be very long.
Yeah, you have a long road ahead of you. Alright, so...
we're back.
Paige has finished her first Dean Koontz.
I did.
For better or worse.
I will say, it got better. Because stuff finally started happening. So... I was intrigued to see what was happening and like how it was going to end. Mm-hmm. His writing style still annoyed me. The characters still annoyed me. Mm-hmm. But at least there was plot that I could like follow along with and like get behind. There was actually a romance subplot. Did you remember that part when you recommended this book for me?
No, not really.
Yeah, so spoiler panda. Colin ends up finding a girl that likes him, and they actually have a really sweet bond with each other about books and horror and science fiction. So they kind of build a relationship, and now she's the only one who can trust him or who believes him. So he ends up telling her all the drama that happened with Roy, and she ends up like being on his side, and they formulate a plan to like catch Roy in the act of killing people and to like get him to admit his crimes on tape. That part I liked, you know, because it was sweet. But at the same time, I wouldn't let myself enjoy it because I figured she was gonna die. Because it's a horror book. It's not a romance. It's not gonna have a happily ever after, you know?
Some of them do.
This one actually had a happily ever after, which was weird. Not for the couple. They don't end up staying together forever or anything. But nothing bad happens to them. They get Roy to admit everything, and it's like the ending just gets wrapped up in a pretty little bow and everything's fine. And they like forgive Roy in a way. I don't know. So the ending kind of threw me off and it felt very abrupt. I was like, oh, that's it? Like, I was expecting a much more chaotic, gruesome ending, you know, because there was like all this build up. And it was just like, oh, that's it? I don't know. Like, it just ended like a wholesome TV show. Like, oh, we're gonna get him the help he needs. And everything's okay now. And then... I don't know. So
shucks, Beaver.
Yeah, that's okay. It's okay that you killed all those people. Oh. It's just because you were a traumatized little boy. Right. It's okay. Yeah. So I don't know. That was kind of weird, and I didn't. Oh.
Sorry. Havoc's here. Hey, buddy.
What did you think?
He thought that he did not like me holding him. Okay.
I will not be tamed. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't even know how to feel about this book.
Well, I told you, I think part of the reason that people like Koontz is that he writes in a very simple manner. Not that there isn't any suspense, I suppose, but that it's just it's lower stakes. You don't have to invest yourself in the same way. Focus on little details, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Now this is from someone that is not a Koontz fan, so maybe I'm totally off. That's how I've always perceived his writing. It's simple, it's easy to follow.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I guess that's why people like it. I don't know.
Yeah. And then that story epilogue thing at the end, I was very confused. Colin as an adult or something, but it's like totally unrelated.
Gotcha.
And I didn't even understand, like, it was something about like his wife and his daughter were killed or something, or they died in what he thought was an accident, and then he finds out his wife is actually alive or something. Okay. I don't know, but none of the characters from before are back. It's just Colin, but it's like this is a totally, I don't know, that I didn't understand it at all. I just kind of didn't really pay that much attention to it. I wasn't gonna read it at all, but I saw Colin's name, so I was like, wait, is this supposed to be like an epilogue or something? I don't know. It was kind of silly. I don't even know how to rate this book because I just don't understand what it was. Like, I don't understand what he was going for. You know, like, I went into it thinking it was going to be like a serial killer novel with like gruesome murders and, you know, unhinged, chaotic, whatever. And like I said, the part in the middle, like 50-75% on, like, the plot got really good, but
now this is a very early Dean Koontz novel.
Yeah.
So
I think it was just supposed to be like a thriller. I don't think it was supposed to be horror.
Yeah, I don't know, but
I don't know. It was weird. It was weird.
I just mean that, you know, maybe he hadn't honed in on his thing yet. He didn't have the direction that a seasoned author may have.
I guess there was an interesting story arc to Colin's character with the whole coming of age thing because, you know, part of the thing is that Colin is really into horror and science fiction, and it's called the voice of night because he always hears this voice at night, like evil lurking or whatever, but it's because he's a scared boy. Like, it's almost like, I feel like most people, they like horror because they don't get scared. Or, you know, or like that's like what people think. Like, oh, if you're into horror movies, you must not get scared. But he was kind of like the opposite. Like, he was always scared. And that's why he liked the horror movies and stuff, because he could, like, project his fears into that kind of stuff instead of the real horrors of life. And honestly, there was a part that kind of mirrored Devil in the Dark Water by Stuart Turton, because there's a part where Roy's chasing him, and he's worried that Roy is evil and he's gonna kill him. Then he's like, oh no, the only logical explanation is that Roy's possessed, clearly. Like, me thinking he's a serial killer, no, that's crazy talk. He must be possessed. So, like, kind of like in the Devil in the Dark Water, like, oh, there's no way a human could be that evil. It must be some kind of, you know, spiritual or supernatural element. You know, so I was like, oh, like, maybe he's going somewhere with this. But it didn't really develop after that, and I don't know. And as Colin goes throughout the story, like, he starts to do, like, more research about psychology. Like, he goes to the library and checks out books about abnormal psychology, and he looks in the archives about Roy's life, and he, like, really, you know, like, digs deep into that, so then he's not really scared anymore. So I guess that was the point, or, like, that was the message. I don't know. I didn't understand what he was going for, so I feel like I don't even know how to say if he did a good job, because I don't know what he was going for.
Just as a reading experience, where do you put it? As Havoc tears apart my little writing desk area there.
I think I'm gonna give it 2 stars.
2 stars.
Because there were still parts that I ended up enjoying the reading experience of. Like I said, I ended up liking, what's her name? I don't even remember the girl's name. His love interest.
Oh, Jessica Biel.
Sure, it doesn't matter. So I liked that, and then, like I said, I guess it was interesting seeing, like, Colin, like, overcome his fears or whatever, I guess. I don't know.
So it did not make a Koontz fan of you, though?
No.
Okay.
No, his writing style really annoyed me.
I love you. I love you so
Did I
much.
pass the test? Was this a test? I love you too.
I would love you even if you liked Koontz.
Oh.
It would just...
That's true love.
It would make things difficult for a time.
Like, I just don't understand.
Yeah. I guess the question then is, knowing that it is an early work from him, would you give him another chance, another try? Based on the recommendations, say, of some folks that actually do like him there in the comments. Because I know that half of them would probably tell you to read that book over there, Intensity. It seems to be the one that people really love.
I think if the synopsis intrigued me, like something with serial killer vibes or...
Well, that one's about a serial killer.
Yeah, so maybe, I don't know. But at the same time, like, there are so many other books that I want to read, so I'm just like, why bother?
Right.
I don't
Especially when there's, so many Stephen King novels that you haven't read.
Exactly. I would much rather try Stephen King than read Dean Koontz.
Yeah.
Just because I hated his dialogue. I don't know.
Alright. Well, there you go. So 2 stars this time.
Yeah.
Can't
Pen
say...
Pal was more enjoyable. Well, maybe enjoyable is not the right word. It was more gripping. The ending still just really pissed
As
me
was
off.
Harvest Home.
No.
You can't tell me you like this better than Harvest Home.
Okay, that's an interesting question. Let me think.
Uh-huh.
At least this one was a page turner. Harvest Home was not.
That's a lie.
I'm not lying.
Alright, well, so there you go. 2 stars.
Yeah. It was alright. I was just confused.
Now, I read one of her books. If you want to see that, then we're doing the same thing, but reversed over on her channel.
Yes.
So I'll link that below, where you can watch me read
A book about step-siblings.
About step-siblings in a sex club.
Yep.
So, we will be back next month reading a book together.
Oh, yeah.
We'll figure that out, but I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yes.
Thank you. Stay safe. Drink great coffee or drink 69-cent iced coffee from your local 7-Eleven. Cheers. Hey, buddy. Are you helping me write? Well, I see you've pulled a few things out here. You're gonna write a gripping tale of kitty survival in the wild. That might be tough. You haven't had to survive in the wild. Don't get bashful. You were just the silliest potato, and then as soon as I turn this on... Okay.